You are judging people, and it is holding you back from living a life of peace and purpose and joy. Outside of my coaching world, I also work in sales, car sales specifically. And a lady came in our dealership yesterday. We'll call her Tina for anonymity. And Tina was grumpy, really grumpy. She walked by my desk as she was in service looking at a Palisade we had on the showroom floor. And she asked me about it, and I tried to answer her question. She walked off in a huff. And then she made another circle, and she came in, and I'd picked up my phone, and she said, "I see you're on your phone again." And she was very grumpy with me. She questioned my sales ability. She questioned my integrity. She questioned all kinds of things. She was very grumpy. But I got to know Tina a little bit better, and we began to talk about vehicles and her maybe purchasing a new one. And our manager kind of invited Tina over and began to talk to her. And honestly, I was getting very critical of Tina. And I'm not generally like that with people, but I got out of my soul and into my ego for a moment there. And my manager showed her kindness and compassion. You know what Tina did? She began to just open up. I mean, just open up and open up. Her light went off in her soul. And I quickly began to realize what my manager, Mariah, had already recognized, is this lady was not what she was putting on the outside. She was a tough old bird on the outside, but she was a wounded warrior on the inside. She had lost her husband. She was going through a lot of family drama in her life, and she was letting it out. Well, she said, "Let's go on a test drive." So I got in the car, and she literally told me, "Get your ass in the car," is how she put it. So I got in, and Tina and I went on a test drive, and she said, "Let's get some lunch." And I hardly ever do anything like that with a customer on a test drive. I said, "Okay, let's get some lunch." And she said, "We're buying Mariah, the manager, some lunch too." And so we went through the drive-thru. By this point, I had come back to real Jim and realized I have compassion for Tina. And I was going to buy her lunch, and I passed my card over to her because she was driving. And she said, "No," and she waved it away. I said, "Tina, let me pay for this lunch." And she said, "No." And do you know, I sat down with Tina later in our conversation, and at that point, I didn't care if she bought a car or not. If you like story ends, she did buy a car. And she ended up having one of the greatest connections with my manager and I that I've ever had with a customer. And I said, "Tina, can I tell you something?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "When you came in here, my thought was you're going to be a tough customer." I said, "Can I tell you, you're rapidly making a run for my favorite customer ever." And when she left, my manager hugged her and I hugged her. And we don't do that with customers because Tina had an impact on our life. When we judge people, we are looking strictly at their personality, at the outside them. We're not looking at their soul. If you'll look at people's soul, you will begin to experience a level of life you've never experienced. Who are you judging today? If you need some help on your journey, follow along. I love you guys, even you tough old birds like Tina.